as it currently stands, the way I'm looking at it on the 4 hour is really just, we're at that point where if we just look at the whole, big picture, we're at that point where we're potentially starting to, obviously downtrend, consolidation, potential break, right? It's a potential break. I don't think we go anywhere crazy right off the bat, but I think as far as like near term objectives, this will be, 494 is like the upside target for either today, tomorrow, whatever. So yeah, something like that would be an upside target. I mean, it isn't that far, but I need to see something that's going to show me that this is going to work, right? Like maybe it builds out for a minute and then gives you a sweep at like 10, and then we can run for higher, maybe something up here. But with this, like I don't have structure, so I can't just buy here because I don't know if it's going to sweep. And then I can't just, let's just say, I can't short here because I don't know if it wants to run higher, like hypothetically, right? But if the market's kind of moving sideways and then it fails to break one way, creates some sort of setup, then I'm pretty confident in buying that. So I need like just it's a step-by-step process. You see it do this. If it fails, it gives you an indication it might do the opposite. And then from there, you start to stack those confluences. But right here, there's just nothing for me to work with. The only other level that I think we'll draw is essentially right here. Make it purple. So we have this old Nui gap right here where we gap down and then sold off. These gaps, for whatever reason, they tend to be pretty supportive of price. So if it breaks above and we hold it, then that's a decent entry. Same thing with rejecting it. So I find these levels, I don't know why, they tend to work really, really well. If you're in a trade and you ever see one of those and you run into it, it's very likely that it reverses there. So I use them as targets and I also use them as points of interest. So for this session, obviously, we want to stay above that. And of course, on the lower time frame, we're talking like this area. So like 380 would be like the low that I'd want to see. Obviously, with prior day high, you never want it to fail too aggressively above here, because if you fail aggressively above prior day high, you start forming that top tail on that daily hammer. So you don't want to see this, turn into one of these like shooting stars. That's like the main idea. So a hold above prior day high, ideally. Maybe the wick or like the session low is like right here. And then this would be the upside target at some point. It doesn't have to happen today. I'm okay with this closing relatively around the same area. And then tomorrow could like dip into this gap and then run. So I see a couple scenarios, but there's no plan for me to be entering anything all crazy off the open. I can't really do much when we get a rally like this. It's nothing that's super sustainable. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, good point. The news is really going to be the driver today, because when I talk about some sort of wick or whatever, 10 a.m. is just going to give it to you with the news. It's kind of weird though. Sometimes those red folder news. Yeah, I mean, bro, of course. I mean, what time is it? 8, like 9. Yeah, it's not 9:30. Of course you're long. It's like it'll be like 8:37. You're like, you know what? Fuck it. Oh yeah, nice. Yeah. I mean, it's just you could maybe be long right here. Maybe it might work. I just do not think it will. I do not think it'll work right here. I think this range is gonna be like manipulated. Like the low of day could be as low as like 370. I'm okay with that. So I can't have a stop that works that wide, obviously. We'll get a decent setup after 10 a.m. Hopefully, right? I'm always just mindful when you start to see these big moves, just make sure you're not chasing anything. you don't want to let the market, you don't want it to make you take a trade. Like if you ever feel that the market's trying to make you take a trade, it's very likely that you're gonna be positioned on the wrong side, because the only thing that should be obvious to you is like a good setup, not a past move. Oh, it rallied, so I have to get long or short. It's like it normally won't work to our benefit, but yeah, kind of interesting London session, if I do say so myself. Typically, this type of action is like what you see in New York. Some sort of push higher, then that higher low, and then you run. So the fact that London's doing this is, I wouldn't say a red flag, but it's definitely not a indication of something that's decent. The only thing that makes you impatient is the need that you have to either like prove yourself or whatever it might be. So if you feel like you're impatient, you got to kind of just narrow down that route. Are you trying to force an outcome? Are you trying to rush timelines? Because I've never seen a trader who's tried to rush that's got anywhere faster. They normally will end up taking a back step. So you just kind of have to work backwards from like, what is the reasoning? Because if let's just say you take a loss and you're like, oh, I can't handle that loss. Why is that? Like, what about the loss is so bad? Because as traders, we all know we're going to take losses. So try to like narrow it down. Is it that you feel like you don't know enough or whatever? But really, it's like, yeah, you're going to take losses most of the time. Three out of 10 times, 4 out of 10 times. That's kind of a lot. Sometimes 5, 6 out of 10 times, right? You'll see people, they're like, all you need is a 30% win rate. I don't believe that. That sounds crazy to me. Imagine losing 7 trades, but, out of 10 and still making money. It's possible, but yeah, it's some wild stuff. Yeah, just about 6 minutes till the open. We'll just watch it. I'll be watching ES and NQ. I'm not sure if I'm favoring ES more today. We'll kind of compare them right now. I would say they're relatively the same. Dang, how tight was your stop if you got stop break even on the long? Like 1 point or something? So one thing you guys can also do, I don't know if this is something any of you already do, but if you feel like you take impulse trades or you're impatient, one thing that's really, really, really beneficial is limit the amount of bullets you have. So if you're using something like the Project X platform, which is something that, Top Step or a few other prop firms also use, really just use a trade limit, the risk limit. I've never met someone who's said, they'll blow their account or something, right? And it's never from one trade. It's just from that persistent trade after trade after trade, flipping biases. And you can avoid so much of that by just limiting it. Yeah, there's these tools. And if you don't use them, I mean, you're just asking for problems. But you'd be surprised. I hear it almost every day where If your risk settings are like a seatbelt, I have traders that are like, dude, I just got in a car accident and like almost died. And I'm like, what happened? They're like, I didn't wear my seatbelt. I'm like, yeah, no shit, you almost died. What do you mean? I'm like, you're gonna wear it all the time then now, right? And they're like, yeah, of course. A week passes and they're not doing it. So it's confusing to me. All you have to do is decide ahead of time that you want to make a good decision. Like if you're genuinely serious about being in trading for a while, make good decisions ahead of time. Limit the amount of damage you can do on any given day. All like legitimately, that's the one of the better parts of the server is go to the accountability in this Discord, post your daily lockout, your for your trade limit. If you do that kind of thing, you're not going to overtrade because, well, frankly, you can't. And yeah, it's like that's the number one cause for people struggling is they do not lock their risk. If people just locked it ahead of time and just said, you know what, I don't want to blow my account today. Let me just make sure I cannot blow it today. They would keep those accounts longer. But yeah, every single person who runs into issues, I'm like, did you lock it? They're like, no, for some reason I just didn't. And then I just wanted to just keep going. It's like, okay, well then go find something else to do because it's not going to work if you keep doing that. Limit risk, limit executions. Those are the number two top things you can do for you. All right, we got basically a minute and a half till the open. Starting to sell a little bit into the open, which is, I mean, ideal. I definitely want it to pull back. The levels that I'm really, really interested in seeing hold at some point is going to be prior day high. Prior day high could be, obviously a ceiling to things. So I will say these markets are kind of moving. They look weird right now. I don't know why they look weird. ES looks really just very very choppy. There's a lot of gaps between the candles. Very low volume, if you will. So game plan is as follows. Pretty much wait for 10 a.m. news. Use the structure after 10 a.m. to determine some sort of bias, and then look for a trade using that. My personal preference would be to look for something to the upside, but again, if we fail prior day high aggressively, I mean, it doesn't really make too much sense to be overly bullish. Right here, just be about patience. This isn't going to be a trade where you get in early and then you catch the whole move for like 200 points. You might get some sort of technical scalp if you have enough confluence, but yeah, there's no need to rush. So yeah, look at MES, this 15-minute barcode. So anytime you see this, candle over candle, this right here is the number one indication for me to not take a trade right now. This says do not bother, because if you take a trade here, you're telling me you know which way this is going to break, and you know when, like what exact minute it's going to break. Because if this is a 15-minute candle like this, right? Amazing drawing. If it's like this, you have no idea when it's going to be at the low or the high for that entire 15 minutes. It can literally do this 3 times, and then the candle closes. So it ain't a trade for me. This is not a trade for me. Maybe you want to take the rejection here or whatever. That's fine. I'll let a lot of this stuff pass. Just because price moves doesn't mean I need to be in it. Not in this market. Definitely not. We're at like a pivotal point, so you really just want to see how we develop. There's a reason why we're running so aggressive like this. It's either because we're genuinely about to break out to the upside, or we're simply just building up some sort of premium for us to then see aggressive selling lower, aka a failed breakout of this range on the 4-hour. So I'm willing to get the info, see what develops from here, but I don't need to trade every single market rotation. Meaning, we had the expansion higher. I don't need to trade it back to here. I can just wait for it to form the higher low and take that. That's a little bit easier trade for me. Good morning. How you doing, man? Damn. Morning. How you doing, man? So yeah, simple plan this morning for anyone just coming in a little bit late. The plan is simply just wait for 10 a.m. If you have high impact news at 10 a.m., is it really going to kill you to wait 30 minutes? You'll get some sort of clear move in the market. You're going to see some sort of either a data wick or some sort of displacement, and then trading that continuation or whatever confirm reversal happens then, that's going to typically be an easier strategy. So that's what I like to think. That's what I like to look for. But as it stands right now, we're just really kind of chilling at prior day high, depending on which asset you're looking at. Keep it simple. You got to just keep it simple. See, now you're getting that little bit of failure right here. If it pushes lower, that'll be all right. The only thing you do not want to see is complete failure above here, and then it closes below the daily low or near the low, because then tomorrow would lead for some sort of sell back to here. Maybe that is what we want. That actually might not be too bad. So just kind of forecasting a little bit. If today happens to be some sort of reversal, right? If we have maybe a 15-minute or 30-minute change in state at the high, and then it closes near the daily low, it would lead for a potential sell setup below this session's low for tomorrow. That could be pretty nice, because you got to think we have no wick down here on the weekly open. So if we do get a reversal on this day, it would be very nice to trade the sell setup. And I could give, 50 examples of that being a good idea. Like fail above prior day high, even here, above prior day high, above prior day high. So anytime you see a failure above prior day high, you have that potential for that sell setup, especially when it's at a swing high. Yeah, stuff even like this. I know it's a little zoomed in, right? But that failure above prior day high, then it targets the body down there. Yeah, I have plenty more in my journal, just not on the charts. So I'd be okay with that too. I'd be okay with that. But right here, I don't have a setup, so I'm not going to touch it. Good morning. How you doing? Yeah, we'll look at the 15, kind of show you how I'm seeing my bias short term. Obviously right here, you have a swing point formation. When you're consolidating, right, this is not ideally going to be something you break out from, especially when you're expanded up this high. The idea is you wait for something in here to form. So this is one broad 15-minute candle. I don't necessarily think the next 15-minute candle will go like this. So you wait for that, maybe like a hammer right here, and then you can target back up to here if that's what it wants to do. But already my plan is I have to wait a couple candles. I'm not trying to rush. I mean, sure, you have VWAP right there, but do you feel like catching a knife right now? I don't. It doesn't mean it won't work, but it means I don't want to do it right now. NQ's pushing higher. Interesting. But yeah, I do like the idea of this being a higher low. I'm not too certain. Maybe it does go right here, right? Maybe it does. Kind of watch it. But again, my plan's still simple. I want to wait. I want to wait until news. You're going to be nothing more than your habits, right? So if you can't even just set an arbitrary rule, that's all I talk about is arbitrary, because what it does is it gives you something to learn from. Only take X amount of trades. Does that really matter, or is it the habit of controlling your actions that matters? The number could be 3, it could be 5, whatever. It could be wait until 10:10. If you say I have to wait until 10:10 and you can do that consistently, then you're going to be a more disciplined person. But if you say one thing and you cannot even do that, then like how good is your trading even going to be? Oh yeah, I have to wait until news takes any single trade they see. You would have shorted there by not waiting for my candle. Yeah. Yeah, I mean anything can work, right? You can short or whatever. But for me I'm just waiting, because I think news will change a lot. And the way I look at it, it's like, am I really going to be in a trade where I want to be done in 10 minutes? Like maybe the trade will be done in 10 minutes, but the way I see it, I'd rather get something a little more positioned better. Everything right now is it's like unclear to me. It's like, yeah, I don't think we're going to necessarily push immediately lower. I do think this is an area where it can bounce, but I don't think it's ready to. Meaning it can even just come back and kind of take out this low one more time and then go. This is just the initial reaction. So a lot of times when you see, an aggressive move, you'll get that immediate bounce, kind of pulls back, and then you get this spring kind of motion, right? You get that turtle soup, whatever you want to call it. So if this is going to be some sort of intraday reversal, I'm looking for some sort of sweep lower first before getting involved, because I don't think this is going to be the low of the session. I think it'll bounce kind of like it's doing, but I don't think it's going to immediately go new highs. It's not a very consistent trade if that's what you're looking for. It happens sometimes, but I wish it happened more, right? I wish this type of setup where it just runs happen more, but it doesn't. Yeah, I mean, scalping's a thing, right? Anything can work. I tend to aim for like, it's not that I aim, but my stats, it'll tend to be like 15, 20 minutes, depending on Asia. If I'm trading Asia, it could be like an hour and a half, honestly. That shit takes forever sometimes. But the idea is if you're trading like a 1 minute or 5 minute, if your trade's only 5 minutes, like my stop might take 5 minutes. Like I'm looking for, 30, 40, 50 points on like a bare minimum for NQ. But more often I'm trying to catch like 100 points on NQ. So it just takes time. It just takes time. So now you're getting that close above the inversion. It's 42 right now, so we have 18 minutes, give or take. Yeah, the 2 minutes, so that's basically what, two candles in? Yeah, if my trade's done in two candles, that means I'm not aiming for a big enough structure personally because it could just go either way. Two candles up, two candles down. It's a lot of pressure to need to be right immediately with like two candles. Yeah. Yeah, speed matters for sure. It's a big aspect. What's up, Tommy? Yeah, name of the game today 10 a.m. 10 a.m. will be the plan. But you'll always get people that are like they cannot wait and they'll rush it and they'll be like, "See, it worked for me." And then when it doesn't work, they just don't say anything. After doing this for 5 years, there's not many mistakes that I could think of that I haven't made myself. So yeah, patience for sure. It's like when I say a lot of this stuff, I'm not guessing. I'm telling you like my opinion on it. Yeah, of course. I'm just I've already made the mistakes, so I'll make them again for sure. That's no problem. We'll all do that, plenty. But if there's something that I've done enough times where I'm like, you know what, let me just go ahead and wait here. I don't need to. I don't need to be super aggressive. There you go. There's your new low of day. So right, like, what's the point? What's the point of rushing VWAP if it's just gonna make a new low of day? Did it look too aggressive? Yeah, it looked way too aggressive for me. So that's why I can say, yeah, I would not take this trade. Yeah. There's got to be something going on, like, you know, there's something going on under the surface. Everything seems a little weird lately. There were some Project X issues yesterday. The tape looks a little weird. The market's like moving higher, but it's so slow and choppy. Like on a candle by candle basis, I'm looking at it, it just looks weird. Yeah, I mean that's a nice candle if you're in that short for sure. I know that candle just ruined everybody's dreams. That was long VWAP. That's an absolute for sure right there. So I get a message from a client, and yeah, it's really that simple. Really that simple. The thing that really helps a lot of people is just focusing on the type of person, like being that person who doesn't make the common mistakes. Meaning being impulsive, like if you really kind of reverse engineer it, to be confident, like as a trader, you just think like, what do professional traders do? Like what? Yeah, legitimately, you want to act as if, like, are they? Do you think they're impulsive? Do you think they're like worried about every fucking candlestick tick and they don't care generally? So I'm like, how do you get to that point? You have to write down exactly what you envision yourself to be at that level, and it's like operate from that mindset. You're not like second guessing yourself. You're not flip flopping your opinion because of someone else. You set a plan and you stay. You keep that resolve. Like you stay locked in on that goal. You're not like, oh, I need to just immediately change the plan because of one candle. Imagine if hedge funds operated like that. Like they get in a trade on Apple and buy, I don't know, $300 million worth of Apple, and then 1 minute candle later, they're like, you know what? Actually, this was a bad idea. I got to get out. And then they did that again every 5 minutes. Like, the market would not be stable if that was the case. But, new traders, they think, yeah, I mean, it's all of us at some point, right? It's all of us. There's somebody out there who tried to buy VWAP, they got run over, and guess what? They're probably back in it right now. You could just wait. We have 14 minutes, 13 minutes till the news. We have 13 minutes till news, so. And we just got this like giant candle out of nowhere. So when I see stuff like that, I'm like, okay, let me be a little bit cautious today, because what is that doing? That's hurting people's feelings. That's what that candle is doing. So it tells me, okay, we'll just wait while some people get torn up a little bit, and then we'll look for a trade. It's almost always easier to take a trade after you've seen people take losses. So, for example, one potential scenario would be this as a breaker. I'm not super keen on it, right? This candle right here. If you could like break, retest, and then target here. I'm not super keen on it though. I'll just kind of let it chill. Not loving this 15-minute candle. I do like the idea of this next one either aggressively sweeping the low and then closing near the same point, or just staying as some sort of inside bar where we can break to the upside of that. Either way, I need time. That's the cool thing about using candlestick charts, is because if you understand that every interval or every candlestick time frame you're looking at requires consolidation because you're waiting for X amount of minutes to pass, you can really start to understand market structure from that aspect as well. I think people worry too much about the price, but they don't worry about like the time. And what does time mean? It genuinely means you're going up and then you go sideways. Sideways would be a 5, 15, 30-minute candle consolidating, narrow body. So you can really visualize consolidations on these charts when you think about it from that perspective. It's the length, the duration. But yeah, very messy open so far. NQ, I don't even know how to read this. Like, what are we looking at? Jeez. A lot of people lost money on that for sure. What is this? Just saying, this is not this is not a friendly year. I promise you guys, you want to be safe this year. This has not been friendly. This is very violent. NQ is like, I look at a chart like NQ right now. We'll pull it up right here. I look at this and I go, damn, a lot of people blew their accounts right here. There's a lot of resets going on. Apex is probably popping. Like, this tells me nothing. So what it really, it's a pullback, sure, but the way it's doing it on the lower time frame is so violent that it's almost impossible for anyone to stay in this trade. Just from a psychological standpoint, the only way you could be in that trade is if you're not looking at the chart. 100%. Is the stream quality low? If anything's ever like low, oh, I see it. Let me go in the settings. The stream quality should be like super solid all the time. So if it's not, let me know. Look, auto 64 bits. Is it bad for everybody? Let me know. A little blurry. Yeah. Okay. Good to know. I'll look into something today. I'll get onto something a little bit higher quality. I don't have a connection issue though, so it might be on your guys' settings because I have fiber internet and I have like all the settings up. So if it's blurry for you, it might be because your Discord is like trying to save data or something. But unless I've maxed out the stats on here, so I'll do some research today. Take a note of that. But there should be no issue for me to stream. I have 1,000 down, 1,000 up, so you would think it'd be fine. I think we do also have a lot of people in here, so I wonder if that's a factor. So I'll get it figured out today. No problem. Choose sets quality. Yeah, so it's set to 720 for everybody. I don't know. Should I turn my bitrate up? I don't know what bitrate is, honestly. Oh, that looks like shit. Yeah, we gotta fix that. That looks terrible. Yeah, we'll get it fixed today. No worries. Either that or I'll get onto a different like streaming service or whatever, so we'll make it work. Let's see. All right, what level is this? We're at some sort of blue level. Yeah, we'll get the stream figured out. Thanks for letting me know. Anytime some shit's off that doesn't seem like it needs to be, just let me know. If something's like not working right. All right, let's try it. I'm gonna try cranking up the bit rate, see what happens. 64. Let's go to 128. All right, fuck it. So we'll see if this makes a difference. Cause I don't see why my internet would be slow. I don't have like anything open really. Yeah, now look at the 4 hours. So the 4 hour is definitely going to be changing a little bit. You know, you have that big top tail. So if you somehow close below the 4 hour open, I would be very cautious with longs at that point. Um, yeah, let me know if you notice any change with the stream, but I can easily just use a different service. I want to, anyways. I want to use something a little bit easier to use for having like other people on. Yeah. So, okay. I have a feeling it's probably because Discord isn't like the best place to do it. So I'll get something to stream on. Um, because I know the stream's fine with like a handful of people in here. At least that's what everyone says. They're saying like it looks good normally, but because there's nothing I'm doing different, and I don't think there's nothing wrong with my internet. I know that for sure. All right, so now you're starting to see. Look at that 5 minute candle on ES. NQ looks kind of weird. 15's a good on NQ though. Hmm. Okay, I'll definitely do some troubleshooting today. Because I don't want it to be blurry. That's like pointless. See if there's. I think there's all the settings I've already checked in here. Yeah, I should be able to stream HD. Yeah, I have boost for sure. Paper trade, cool. Yeah, I have boost. I think it's limited to like 720, unless there's something that changed on my computer. I don't think anything changed though, so I don't know why it's like blurry other than the fact that we have more people in here today. We'll get it figured out. It's no big deal. There's already a couple different platforms I wanted to use for the actual live stream itself. I would use Zoom, but Zoom's like way worse. Like Zoom looks like shit, honestly. I don't even know how Zoom is like a company. Their streaming is so awful. I look at some of the recordings. I'm like, you guys are okay with this? I'm like, you're a publicly traded company and you're okay with this video quality? It looks like a Motorola Razr. All right, NQ's pushing towards the highs. This is such a crazy move. I mean, it's pull back to VWAP, right? And then just kind of rip ahead of news. So yeah, it's so weird. I don't know why it's so blurry. Looks like shit. At least the recording will look good, but stream at 1080. Yeah, if there's issues like across the board, it's definitely a day to just kind of do less. So we have news right now. Let's focus on that. News right now, 10 a.m. Let's see what happens. Maybe it runs higher. Like, nothing? Okay, cool. That's good to know. So yeah, this candle is kind of weird. It's like jumping around a lot. Very volatile. I would not be touching this right now. NQ massive wick. Very choppy morning. Something's off. Vibes off today. Stream's not doing well quality wise for no reason. Yeah, I'm looking at micro ES. So like I'm looking at either micro ES or micro NQ. That's what the M is. Um, yeah, I mean the location's terrible. So I'll use micro contracts because even if I want to use one ES contract, I could just use 10 micros and then I could sell partials if I want. Or if I want to use one NQ, I could use 10 micros. So it really doesn't ever benefit me to use the full size contract, not with Project X, because there's 10. You can use 10 to 1, so it makes no difference to me. It's not like there's a difference in commission. And typically speaking, the liquidity is going to be better on, especially using like Asia. So looking at micro ES and stuff or micro NQ, it just looks smoother during those times as well. So not really any downsides to it. I study ES charts and NQ charts. Like I have two screens right here above my laptop, like a big 49 inch and then like a 29 inch or something, 30 inch or something. Two wide ass monitors, and they have all regular charts. So yeah, it just depends on the platform you use. Yeah, it did sweep the opening range for sure. I agree with you. I see it on an NQ. So to me, this is a day where I don't see too much. I don't see too much. I see the sweep, yeah, but the ranges that we're talking about, I mean, that's a 40-point candle. That 40-point candle, I can't do too much with. I agree. I see the bearish SMT. Trading lower makes sense. Maybe run for London low. Yeah, 5 minute on NQ looks terrible. I'm so confused why the stream looks like shit. It's annoying. Yeah, I do think it's something to do with Discord. So I'll use there's two platforms I had to look at today. Basically, I'll just give a link in the morning or whatever. People join the stream. Yeah, I know we have 16 people in here, which is it's a little more than usual, which I think is a factor in it. I don't think it's obviously the reason because you should be able to stream to however many people. Shouldn't be an issue, but maybe it's a factor. Maybe there's some setting I don't have right. Either way, it'll take probably an hour and a half to figure out. It won't be too bad. I agree. So Celsius has it right. I'm gonna give it like a couple more minutes, but I do think today was a really good day to kind of avoid, and I hope a lot of you kind of saw that that like being patient actually benefited you. It was, I mean, maybe you could have caught a trade. Maybe I really don't think there's any trade that I could have been in that wouldn't have resulted in a loss. You long VWAP, or maybe you shorted the fair value gap right there to the swing low on like ES, but NQ you pretty much guaranteed to lose money today. Maybe you caught one VWAP long, but I don't believe anyone who's like, oh yeah, I only bought the time after it almost failed. Like everyone and their mom bought the first VWAP test and then got stopped. So like I don't know. People will say a bunch of stuff, but 2 minute fair value gap, right? Yeah, like right above on NQ, right? That's what you're talking about on NQ. Yeah, for me, the one thing I'm always cautious with, whenever you sweep a low and form a gap, this gap right here to me, I'm a little cautious of. Obviously, this doesn't look like it's super bullish, but I always feel like these get inverted quite easily. So I'm very cautious with those. Just because when it sweeps a low, and also we're also in a 15-minute gap as well. I think this is an area where we can bounce, so I'm going to be cautious on shorts here personally for a number of reasons. But I do see the gap for sure. Yeah, okay. So NQ has got a similar one. I do think this is likely to invert. Yeah, a lot of people only trade NQ, especially with prop firms, which is wild. Like I think it's like 80% of users will trade NQ. It's fine. It moves a lot, that's for sure. I would say NQ is probably a better asset to only trade than like only trading oil or something. Yep. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. It's just chop, chop, chop. It's chop, chop, chop. So good stream, everybody. We'll probably wrap it up here. Have any questions or anything, right? Ask questions. I'm gonna be looking for like one last little push right here. We'll see if ES can clear like 58.21 and give us a higher low. Then yeah, for sure, for sure, happens. I don't think it's I don't know. I don't think it's gonna move the way it needs to. The 5 and the 15 are just very wicky, very tight ranges. A lot of expansion, so maybe it gives you a reversal right here, but it's just I just don't see anything. So I think yeah, playing it safe today is a good idea. We've been glued to the 930 open on NQ, which is always a sign that we're consolidating. Whenever you're stuck to the 930 opening price, yeah, it's usually good to avoid. All right, you guys see it? No, it's not great, but we did get a little bit of a push higher on ES. So let's see, what are we looking like? Still not great. Still not great. I'm not gonna lie. So all we have is this little push. There's no market structure shift. Candles are real slow today. Yeah, this is not great. Ideally, it would have pushed a little bit more aggressive, and we break above, right? Break above, higher low, and then we can go. But yeah, I think this is a range to avoid for me. So good stream, everybody. Yeah, apologies for the quality. We'll figure it out. Figure it out real quick. So we'll have it ready for tomorrow. And yeah, any questions, just let me know. This is yeah a day I'm just gonna not do anything. I'm good. I'm good on this. I don't need to trade it. So yeah, thanks for stopping by. 50, yeah, very small for sure. Absolutely. I'll be considering something if it breaks, but more than likely I gotta go do other stuff. This is a day where you can easily just waste mental capital. So that's your most important task is preserve the mindset. There will be better trading days coming. So take care, everybody. Yeah, hopping off here. Get this uploaded right now. All right, later, guys. Peace.